Hello everyone, this is Tim, and this is going to be a quick video just going over all the stuff that I have for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I don't have a ton of stuff, but I have a fairly good amount of modules and versions of the game that I want to quickly show you guys. So way back when Lamentations of the Flame Princess came out with the Deluxe Edition, and this was my first introduction to the game, of course. I was lucky enough to get a box set. Seller of RPGs at my local convention had a copy, so I picked it up. And inside you have like the referee guide, which I really enjoyed reading through. The tutorial for new players, all the magic spells, and the rules of the game. And I really enjoyed getting that box set. I kind of felt like a kid again. I really enjoy just RPG box sets in general. And I did a review of that a while back, so I'll try to put a link in there in the description area when I'm done with the video. But it came with character sheets and recommended reading and a little pencil and dice. So that was a lot of fun to open up. Inside also came 2 adventures, Tower of the Stargazer and Weird New World. I have yet to actually run either one of these, but this is more like a site location sort of adventure, and this is sort of like a hex crawl wilderness. It has a pretty big map that folds out. And a lot of these original adventures that Raju put out, the covers sort of slip off, which is actually kind of nice because you can get the maps. And here's the big hex crawl I was talking about. So it was a lot of fun to be able to just grab and use. I have plans to run these at my local convention sometime, but I have yet to actually get that done. But some of the other adventures that I actually have a copy of the original Deathfrost Doom. This adventure is kind of well known, I think, online, at least in the Google Plus circles I usually hang out in. It has a bit of a history, and I don't want to ruin it for you if you've never played it. But they actually redid this module. They put some new art and revamped some things and fleshed it out a little bit. This is pretty small, but same thing. It has a map that comes off the outside of it. And Raju kind of made these original adventures to be used really with any sort of edition of Dungeons & Dragons. So there's a lot of references to chainmail, and it doesn't actually give you AC and things. So you have to do a little bit of work with some of these modules. Again, I have yet to use this one, but my collection is growing. So some of the ones I have used: No Dignity in Death, The Three Brides. I use this as a part of my Welcome to Pembrooktonshire not let's play, but actual play on YouTube. I have one playlist of the beginning of that campaign and a second playlist at the end of it. I had different players, so I wanted to split that up. But I'll put the links down there for that below. But I really like that this is set in Pembrooktonshire. It kind of sets things off. It started my campaign pretty well. In addition to that, there was another PDF that I used a lot of, and that was the people in Pembrooktonshire. And I can actually show you guys this. Let me see here. Not too good with this. Where's the screen share? All right. So this will show you that, and this was the PDF that I used. It has a lot of NPC descriptions in it of various people that are in this little messed up town. And as you read through them, you really sort of get a fleshed out view of what the town is, how all these strange characters sort of interact, and it's kind of like a ticking time bomb, right, waiting to go off. So that was a lot of fun to run. I'm actually going to be running, basically running a one-shot of that and a future thing at my convention. So that was a lot of fun. All right, so let's see if we can get this back. Okay. All right. So No Dignity in Death, Three Brides, and People of Pembrokeshire, both set in that little town. So those went really well together. Another just module that I have yet to run is the Grinding Gear, and this has more dungeons and sites. I like this one has 2 map little fold outs, so you can kind of see how that's set up there. But I got this also fairly early on. I don't know if you can actually purchase these anymore, but I'm lucky to have picked them up while the getting was good. So that's another adventure I went around. And Raju's kind of known for these modules that really can take a campaign and turn them on their ear. He has a very interesting way of looking at things. Horrific elements are throughout the modules. Some of these are actually listed as being 18 plus, so you have to watch who you're running for, I guess. But let's see here. All right, Google Plus is sort of acting up for me. But another module that I have is Better Than Any Man, and I actually use this as the second part of my Welcome to Pembroktonshire game. I had a lot of fun doing this. I have a tendency to try to get it more into fantasy. So, this is based more on, history and the schism of the Christian church. So I went for more of a fantasy sort of aspect on that. I already had some fantasy things like the All. That was my version of like a monotheistic god from Pembroktonshire. And there was this the Sin Eater that was actually eating the corpses, the leftover remains of the bodies that were left on these high things that are in the sky for the crows and things to eat. And that religion that I kind of made up in, the All sort of had these local traditions of the Sin Eater who would actually eat the corpses of the dead. So that, I think, made some of the some of the characters and freak out, as well as the players. But I had a great time running this. It has a nice sort of end time clock that's ticking, and you can feel that tension and pressure on the players to try to get things done. So I recommend that. Another free adventure, and this was definitely on. I was like free RPG day that this came out. This one is the let's see if I can remember the Doom Cave, or what was it? The Doom Cave of the Crystal-Headed Children. And this one is kind of, I guess, kind of what's the word you want to use? But controversial, I guess, because children are the result of you have to try to think about how you're going to get around these kids. If you don't kill them, how are you going to do it? So again, he's sort of pushing the envelope in this module. What else do I got over here? This one is one that I just picked up. I got this in the mail just recently. This is from Raphael Chandler, No Salvation for Witches. And this one is, pretty graphic, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I would actually try to run this. This one might even be a little uncomfortable for me to try to get through, but I'm looking forward to that read. Another one, this is, I've kind of heard this is kind of called Fantasy Fucking Vietnam, so I'm curious to see how this is going to work out. I like the cover art there. I can kind of tell, but some of these more recent modules have better binding than his original ones that he put out. Kelong this was put out by Kenneth Haidt, that many of you are probably aware of, but it has like a Southeast Asia sort of feel to it. So war and just horrific elements are in that as well. The God That Crawls is another one, and I've seen online there's like an illustration of how the module sort of plays out, and how once they get in it, it's sort of it's hard to survive this one. And I like that Radji's modules have a sort of Call of Cthulhu-esque weirdness to them, sort of despair that's in there. Not all players are going to get into that, but I'm looking forward to trying to run this. The Monolith from Beyond Space and Time. This one I've heard, and again, I haven't used it yet, but I've heard that it can really just change a campaign. If you have a campaign that's going on and you throw this in there, it's really going to change things. It's going to take things in a completely different direction. And as a GM that likes to be surprised and likes things to just sort of evolve and happen at the table, I don't have any preset end notions or here's how the campaign's going to end sort of in mind when I run a game. I'm really looking forward to throwing this into a game. I have a current Labyrinth Lord game that I'm using, and I'm thinking about using some of the ideas of these modules in that campaign. I'm going to try to show you some of the PDFs I have. That's all the physical copies that I currently possess. But some of the other PDFs that I have here, try to figure this out. All right. Try to get this out of here. All right, do that one. Yeah. Hammers of the God. I actually tried to use this one in a campaign, and it didn't happen because the player characters decided that they weren't going to go to that location. So it was one of the sort of like missed opportunities. I kind of set things up, and I was curious to see how it was going to resolve. And I did, a good amount of prep for it, but it didn't actually come to class. But this is sort of Radji's version of how he would take dwarves. I knew later he's sort of gotten away from dwarves and elves, and he's going for more of a Renaissance, like European sort of style to his game. But I definitely like this one, and it's more of one of his more like fantasy versions of his modules, I guess. What else we got here that I picked up? Isle of the Unknown. This one is great because it has lots of hexes, and there's detailed. It kind of introduced me to the idea of like hex crawling and how that works. You travel over the wilderness, and you go to a different hex, and there's different things that could be experienced in that place. The creatures in this are beautiful. There's lots of color artwork throughout, and I was definitely impressed with it. All right, what else do I got? I did pick up the Grindhouse edition and the Rules and Magic. Let's see if I can put that up there. I've picked up both of these versions of the game in PDF. I have yet to get a physical copy, and that is something that I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do. We'll see. My gaming budget has gone downhill in recent years, but those are a lot of fun, especially like the Grindhouse edition's artwork. It kind of pushes the envelope in a lot of ways. All right, what else do I have? The Green Devil Face. These are sort of small PDFs that James put out for like optional rules, and there's little adventures sprinkled throughout them. I used the critical hit charts and sort of took them in my own direction, but I definitely based them off the ones that James came up with for my Lamentations game. So those were cool. I highly recommend these. They're not very expensive. They're pretty cheap, so it shouldn't be that hard to pick them up. So it's like classic sort of free art on there. I think they were like a couple of dollars whenever I picked them up. So I recommend those. Let's see what else we can find here. This is the last one. As far as I know, there's only 4 Green Devil Faces. Maybe I have to pick up another one if he's put another one out. And last but not least, Vornheim, the Complete City Kit by Zach S. I'm using this one a lot in my current Labyrinth game. It has like a city section. I'm using some of the small niche games modules, but this has been coming in handy a lot for impromptu NPCs, things in people's pockets, some of the random charts that are in there. And yeah, I highly recommend that one. So let's go back here. All right, let's stop the screen share nonsense. Okay, so that's pretty much my entire collection. What's nice about the format that he does for these modules is they're smaller. They're easier to fit on shelves. Some of my bookshelves can't really handle the larger RPG format for books, but they're easy to read, and that's something that I've had a hard time with lately. Is just having that big bulky RPG book and trying to be able to put that into a bag or just easily carry it around. So I definitely like the smaller format. James is part of the old school Renaissance, but he kind of does it with more flair and flash. I really enjoy seeing his products. I, obviously like them because I keep buying them, but I highly recommend them, especially if you're into something that's a little bit darker, off the beaten path. If your players are sort of jaded and, they're not surprised by anything, you throw something like this at them and they're going to run for the hills. They're really not going to know what to expect from you from there on out. I've also been thinking, since I've been looking at these, of trying to run maybe like a 5th edition D&D campaign with this. So you get in players that like 5th edition, but this would definitely be a different flavor for adventures they're probably used to. Take things in a different direction, horrify them, scare them. Maybe they won't come back. I don't know. And you do have to kind of tell players like up front that, okay, in this campaign, things are going to get weird. They're going to get strange. I might cross some lines that you find disturbing. Make sure you have that talk with them first, and just see how they think of that. Are they going to be willing to bump into that kind of material? Yeah. So there's like modules out there like Fuck for Satan and what was the other one? I can't think of it. I don't actually have it. Death Love Doom. I think I actually have that somewhere. I must have lost it. But yeah, those are some modules that you definitely get off the beaten path. Might be uncomfortable for some players, so maybe think about them when you get get somebody set up to play. But I'm a big fan of Lamentations. I've done several videos and actual plays like I told you before. So I'll put all those links down below. But yeah, you can find this stuff online. There are some resellers in the United States that have this stuff, or you can get it directly from James. You just have to do with the international shipping and so forth. But he usually has like sales every once in a while. So if you follow him on his blog, I'm able to pick some things up fairly cheap from time to time. You know, he kind of has some crazy sales. Like you're like, whoa, really? All your modules are now what price? So, you know, you never know what James is going to do, and I think that's why I like him. I've talked before about how I think James is sort of like an older metalhead brother that I'd like to have a beer with sometime, and you know that's I'm pretty much sticking to that because you know I've interacted with him a few times on Google Plus, and yeah, I don't know if he's ever watched any of these videos, but yeah, I'm trying to support him, so go out there and buy stuff. I highly recommend it. 2 thumbs up, or maybe in James' case, 2 middle fingers up. I don't know how he wants to wants to be rated, but yeah, good stuff. I enjoy it, and I'll talk to you all later.